The paranormal is a subject that interests many people. Many of us are interested in the unknown, with some even having experienced it themselves. It's these experiences that's led some to investigate the subject, causing them to find a variety of answers for what happened to them. There are those that believe that we share the planet with paranormal entities, and every so often they make themselves known. Science, however, tells us that ghosts don't exist, and it's actually our brains playing tricks on us. They go on to detail that many things can happen to the brain that causes us to see ghosts, and some of these examples can be attributed to us being tired, our brain identifying objects in the dark, or our senses being heightened after watching a horror movie, and therefore we are more alert about what's going on around us. Paranormal researchers and those that have seen ghosts don't buy into this though, and say that the topic should be taken seriously and investigated. Other theories have been put forward to try and explain what we're seeing. For example, some note that humans' visual spectrum isn't great, and that we can only see a certain amount of things, while certain animals have a much wider spectrum. Snakes, for example, are able to see in infrared vision. Some suggest that ghosts are beings that exist in a spectrum not picked up by the human eye, and this is why sometimes motion detectors pick up on paranormal beings. Researchers have also said that a variety of different places can be haunted, with some of the most common places being that of graveyards, old buildings and houses where something bad has happened. However, one place you wouldn't expect to be haunted is that of ships and even the ocean. A man was working on an old boat when he took a mysterious photograph. Upon reviewing it, he discovered he'd accidentally captured something in the background. The image first started to make the rounds online back in August of 2014, with the eyewitness saying the following about the image. As I said in a previous post, I work at sea. Last month we came into a dry dock to carry out refit and repairs. Dry dock is when a ship is brought into a lock, the gates closed and all the water pumped out, leaving the ships high and dry on the blocks, thus allowing repairs and inspections on the underside of the hull. Next to us was an old military frigate being broken down for scrap. She had arrived around 2 weeks prior to us. Once the frigate was on the blocks and all dry, all the crew left the old girl to her fate. A sad sight, but that's how these things go. Once all the sensitive stuff had been removed, the dock workers were free to go on. The dock foreman John went on board first with a camera to take pictures of work areas. All in all, he took a couple hundred. This was one of them. He later sent all of the photographs to his boss, who, upon seeing this one, called John straight away asking the following: "Who is the guy with the axe at the edge of the camera flash?" At the time, John was confused as he never saw anyone while on the ship. The area where this photograph was taken was in a cross alley deep inside the ship. He was walking around with a torch and a camera, and when he'd go to take a photograph he would turn off the torch, leaving him in total darkness. After this he would turn the torch back on and be on his way. Because of it being a military ship, the police were soon contacted. The police turned up and carried out their own investigation. However, they noted that they didn't find any trace of anyone being on the ship. It's also interesting to note that there was only one way on and off the ship, and this was by a gangway covered by CCTV. It was very unlikely that someone would jump off the side of the ship, as it was a 25-meter drop. You couldn't jump over without being seriously injured. No one was seen to leave the ship after John had taken this. If you zoom in on the image, you can make out what appears to be a person. The witness went on to say the following: "I am a skeptic. Maybe it's a trick of the flash reflecting off something, but if you really zoom in you can make out the face, ear, collar of the jacket and the axe. And before anyone asks, I'm not going to name the ship or where she is, as I'm not sure if I'm even supposed to have a picture of the innards of a military ship. This gave me serious goosebumps. Needless to say, I didn't go back on board for a look." Some people gave their opinion on what they thought the being could be. This caused some to suggest that something dark took place in the region, and now that event has left an imprint that gets played over and over. Other examples of a residual haunting include that of something making banging noises, or turning on the same light over and over. Although this may sound creepy, residual haunting is actually one of the better hauntings to experience. According to paranormal researchers, these entities will let you know that they're there, but they'll usually stay out of your way. There's also a dark entity that's allegedly been plaguing the human race since recorded history, and this entity goes by many different names. For many years, a number of people all around the world have reported waking up at night and seeing a mysterious shadowy figure, and some suggested that the being in this photograph is a shadow figure. The shadowy figure has over time become famous, leading on to it to be given a variety of different names, some of which include the Shadow Man, the Hat Man, and the Shadow Person. The phenomenon has gained widespread popularity, and a number of documentaries have been made on the subject, trying to get to the bottom of what people are experiencing. However, it seems that the more the subject is looked into, the more questions are put forward. A dedicated blog known as the Hat Man Project has also been launched where people share their experiences with the Hat Man. The history of the Hat Man phenomenon goes way back in time, and different written records of the Hat Man have been found. In fact, some evidence of the Hat Man-like entity have been found in scriptures of previous civilizations as well, showcasing that whatever this thing is, it's been plaguing humanity for a long time. Recently, various photographs have been making the rounds on social media showing strange beams of light. Interestingly, these strange lights have been showing up in various places, and this has caused several eyewitnesses to give their opinions on what the lights could be. One man said the following: "While on the way to work, I saw what appeared to be a giant beam of light open up in the sky. This light wasn't the same as the natural light piercing the clouds. It was massive and really bright. I got distracted while heading to work, which eventually caused me to be late, but I couldn't miss the opportunity to see this mysterious light. I have no idea what it was, and I could also see other drivers pointing it out as they were driving by. It was like something out of a movie." Interestingly, this isn't the first time these strange beams of lights have been reported. Going back a few years ago, residents in Rockwell, Texas reported giant booms and lights in the area. Those who witnessed the event said it illuminated the sky. Skeptics argued that what people were reporting was just the sun shining through the clouds, but residents countered this and said if this was the case then the beam should have spread to the horizon, but in this case it didn't. It was very direct. Various photographs then started to reach social media, where thousands of people started to give their opinions on the mysterious lights. One resident said the following: "As I was driving, I noticed a distinct light coming from the sky. It caught my eye as it didn't look natural. I'd never seen anything like this before. I had my mum in the car and she was surprised as well. The beam of light was very distinct, and it didn't look like the sun coming through the clouds." Another witness had this to say: "The light certainly did look weird, but I think I've seen something similar. We call these things God rays, but they do usually have more light rays. This one seems to be one giant one." Scientists have come forward with a possible explanation. They have suggested it could be an anti-solar ray. These rays are parallel shafts of sunlight from holes in the clouds, and their apparently odd directions are a perspective effect. As of right now, more of these photographs are being shared around, with some of the most recent ones coming from New York. Again, these lights are similar to the ones that are being reported, but are noted as being larger. The first unmanned mission to the moon was in 1959 by the Soviet lunar program, with the first manned landing being Apollo 11 in 1969. The primary objective of Apollo 11 was to complete a national goal set by President John F. Kennedy, and this was on May 25, 1961. The goal was to perform a crewed lunar landing and return to Earth. Additional flight objectives included scientific exploration by the lunar module, deployment of a television camera to transmit signals to Earth, and deployment of a solar wind composition experiment and seismic experiment package. During the exploration, the 2 astronauts were to collect samples from the Moon and return them to Earth. They were also given instructions to photograph the lunar surface as much as they could. On July 20th, 1969, American astronauts Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin became the first humans ever to land on the Moon. Around 6.5 hours later, Armstrong became the first person to walk on the Moon. However, over the years photographs have made the rounds on social media, and some have found interesting anomalies. NASA has said the majority of these can be explained, and these are either dust particles on the lens, or just other space anomalies that happen to get picked up. Others are not so sure, and have found various anomalies that they suggest are actually UFOs. One photograph that's currently making the rounds is this one of Buzz Aldrin. It's the photograph of Buzz just before he steps on the Moon. However, those that have zoomed in on this image have allegedly found an unidentified flying object in the background. And not only that, but they say this craft matches the same shape as those that are seen on our planet. Amateur researchers have said that the craft is triangular or boomerang shaped. This is noted as being one of the most common shaped UFOs that are reported from around the world, leading some to put forward some interesting theories for why this craft was there during the Moon landing. There's some that have suggested that the craft seen here is actually one of the triangular UFOs that's commonly seen on Earth. These black triangles are commonly seen in various countries, most commonly the United Kingdom, the United States and Germany. The craft in the photograph matches the description of the triangle UFOs, which caused some to suggest that they may not belong to us. Various triangle-shaped UFOs have been seen close to the Moon, which has caused some to question why they're there and why they're so interested in our Moon. For over 40 years, the triangle UFO has caused much debate. It's perhaps one of the more mysterious UFOs that's reported. These crafts are often reported as being silent, and have been on a number of occasions just hovering in the sky. Sightings of the triangle UFOs often come in waves, with people seeing dozens at a time. They are also perhaps the most photographed UFO as well, with even news programs covering them. What's most interesting about these crafts is that they've been witnessed hovering motionless in the sky, and then suddenly making a high-speed departure. Pilots have said that they're faster than any conventional aircraft that's currently in the sky. Some have put forward the theory that the triangle UFO is a top-secret government craft, while others have said it's most likely the next step in the stealth series of crafts, hence why they're able to do things that other planes can't. There's still a group of people though that think that these objects are unexplained. Although we mentioned that sightings come in waves, here in the UK these crafts are seen nearly every other week. Incredibly, there have been around 4,000 reports of the triangles since the 1990s in the UK alone. There have also been waves of triangle sightings in Belgium, France, Holland and Germany. One skeptic, however, spoke out about this alleged UFO and said the following: "What I find interesting about this photograph is that these are the same people who claim we never went to the Moon, and yet here we have a photograph of an alleged UFO. It seems that these type of people can't make their minds up on whether we actually went or not. From looking at the photograph, to me it just looks like a camera anomaly, or possibly a small piece of space debris. The only thing we have to go by is this tiny object in the corner of an image, and I'm sure if we zoomed in on many of the Apollo images we'd find similar looking objects. For me this is completely natural." NASA also gets a lot of questions in regards to UFOs, and one of these came from a user on Twitter. They asked the following: I know that it's true that Apollo 11 did spot a UFO. Is it true that other radios could pick up when the television broadcast was shut down during the spotting of the UFOs? If so, is it true these radios could pick up Apollo 11 saying the other spacecraft were spotted on the crater edge of the moon, and were much more advanced than Apollo 11 technology? Dr. David Morrison, who served as an institute director at NASA, said the following to the questions. "I'm sorry to disappoint you, but you are repeating stories that are known to be false. No astronauts saw UFOs. There are no secret Apollo transmissions, radio or television picked up by hams. There was no case of Apollo astronauts spotting other spacecraft on crater rims or anywhere else. Others disagree with this and have said that over the years many different types of unidentified flying objects have been seen close to the moon, and that after investigations are carried out many of these are forgotten about as they can't be explained. With one person saying the following, "I'm not surprised that people still fight this. After all, it's not like NASA and other space agencies are just going to come forward and admit that we've seen UFOs. Of course they're going to say the claims are false. All one has to do is look at recent sightings in the news surrounding the topic, and it's easy to come to a logical answer for what's going on." Again, though NASA have said that these objects are nothing more than camera anomalies, they've stopped speaking on the matter because whatever they say is just pushed aside by believers. Interestingly though, astronauts themselves have spoken on the topic, with some even going public with their encounters and what they saw in space. This has only helped fuel the belief that there are mysterious objects in space, and that as of right now our tech is nowhere near as advanced as theirs. It seems like the topic of UFOs and the interest around it is at an all-time high, with some even believing that the government will be coming forward with some credible evidence in regards to the topic. It seems that time will tell whether the government knows more than what they're letting on. So what do you make of this alleged unidentified flying object captured in this photograph of Buzz Aldrin? Do you think it's a genuine UFO, or just a camera anomaly or space junk? Be sure to let us know your thoughts in the comment section below, and help us by growing this community while working to solve these unexplained mysteries. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more videos.